Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore. Wait a minute, this music isn't right, the scene isn't right. Hang on. That's more like it. And now it's time for the show for all creatives. Nevermind the Furthermore. Your source for conversation, inspiration, and fun. With your host, Nicholas Anthony Tockert. He's an artist, a writer, a swordsman, and a game designer. He knows how to use the sword and axe in historical battles without anybody getting hurt too much. He's also the Manatee Man, master of marketing. And he may even have a guest or two. One thing, though, to be certain. Just don't call him a cryptid. With that, it's about time for the show. So sit back, enjoy, and have some coffee and chat with us.
Good morning, Nevermorning. I'm your host with the most, Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert, freelance author, artist, sword master, and retired paranormal consultant. Yes, you can find my books on Amazon. I will get the other books handy. They're still packed up from the con. The Simple Sword, The Fighting Axe, The Simple Spear, plus the Big Stumpy Robots line of books and games and apps through Joe Bachman. You can even find one of my games over on LukeStoneStudios.com under the Hybrids, the Sons of God's Quick Play Edition. Yes, folks, I am everywhere and anywhere you need to be, or just on Amazon. You can find my somewhat in progress work on www.nicholastockert.com, which, of course, is in my project to-do list. And I have so many irons juggling in the fire that I can conspire. Makes me perspire, but I grow tired. So let's hit with the comments. We got a lot to talk about, and we'll talk accountability. First and foremost, I just last night fired off a short to Luke Stone out of the madness that is me. And I know you guys have had that where a story just decides to just pop up a little short, and it's like, okay, I have this story. No, did I warn Luke? Did I say, hey, here's a story, listen to it? Nope. I went in my favorite format, misspelled and poorly typed across a Facebook direct messenger. Because I can always cut and paste that and clean it up. Bam! Story time. So I'm very proud of that little story that came out of nowhere, and that will be showing up. I have a lot of work I'm behind on. Medical stuff has hit me, and okay, real life back behind the curtain stuff. Yesterday, I got a new BiPAP. I'm a member of the Scuba Sleeping Squad, and it's this highly advanced little triangle thing. Now, I'm used to my BiPAP. My BiPAP of a couple of years now has been this great, about the size of an Oxford dictionary, thing that takes about half a gallon of water and sounds like a diesel engine to wrap right up to a leaf blower, because I have the kind of settings on that thing that make doctors literally call for confirmation. Are you sure? Yes. So I get my new thing, and it's this little triangle, and I have to hook it up to my phone and to the internet, sort of. And I set this little guy up, and I put it in, and I hit the button, And I am blasted because I don't need any ramp up. I'm a professional. At about 18 to 22, it oscillates psi on the face. This is what it takes to keep your free range Nick alive while he sleeps. But no noise. Dead silent. Wonder of technology. You spend a few years that, sleeping with a machine that sounds like you get used to that. It's comforting. It means I am supposed to be asleep because what? I've got my braces on. I'm in bed. Happy wife over here. Mask. Squish my face. Pressurize. Out. Zonked. There is no snore because there's no room for snore. This little dude. Oh. Fancy mask. I may have to put my own mask on the dang thing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do all sorts of stuff. I may even have to lose my near trademark goatee, which is not something I want to do. But for the purpose of breathing at night, it may be a necessity. So if I'm a little extra spicy today, I'm a little extra spicy. I'm a little tired. But while we're discussing that glory, let's talk about what else we're doing. I still want to try to get out possibly 3 more titles this year. That's a lot, but I have a lot more to do. I actually could do more. It just depends on if I can get into the flow and finish off and work out some things. So, positive mojo would be appreciated because I have a lot to do. Oh, there's my old mask. Yeah, I'm not making this stuff up. This is my nice old mask. Beat all the heck, but anyway. Let's see what you guys have to say, what your accountability is. And yes, I do have more pictures to scan. I got a little burnout with the whole Inktober weirdness, so I had to step back for a couple days, and I'm going to come back and do some more daily art. But let's see what we have. First through the door at 9:15. Good morning, Nevermind, says our old friend Joe Bachman, my one of my business partners, the wonderful gentleman making apps and the producer of the Big Stompy Robots app. Go to https dot. I'm sorry, let's try that again. https://bit.ly/jbtechapps. For those and all your concrete app needs, he's eventually going to make games. We're going to make the Big Stompy Robots game a reality someday. I have faith in Joe. All he has to do is tell me what he needs. If he needs digital assets, I will digitally assess the situation and make digital assets for him. I've got perler bead assets for him if need be. Yes, it's an interesting world. I said perler beads. Don't get weird with that. All right. But going to be in and out for a while working on paperwork. Hope everyone's having a great day. You have a wonderful day, Joe. We are, you get through your projects and you stay safe because I was thinking of you. I was driving by the bridge construction on the north side of Lafayette, coming down 52. And there were ambulances, plural, and construction workers all standing around in there. I'm worried somebody fell off that bridge. I don't know what happened. It's kind of scary. And it made me think of you and Trey, and I hope you guys are safe and stay safe so that we can make arrangements to see each other because I miss you guys. I love you guys so much. So, now that I'm done mentally fondling Joe Bachman, I love you, Joe. Let's keep going. Carl Witzman says, good morning. Good morning, Carl. Let's see. I hope you're doing good. All righty. Comment dump. Our adopted niece is coming by either for some major life advice or shoulder to cry on at 9, so I will be absent most of the day. hey, you know what? And you must be on the other time zone. Uh, that's okay. You do what you got to do. Family comes first. Hey, you two, how you doing? Hey, Donna, I hope you're having a good morning. And if Carl's leaving us alone, it might be problematic. Before I'm going, accountability. I finished editing a story I was asked to look at. So back to working on a cover for a possible December release. Hey there. Yeah, see, that's how it is. Maybe a possible November release for a certain show in Wabash, Indiana. Ooh. I will try. The story is back in the Dropbox. I do have one more thing to ask about, too. Oh my. I'm torn between reading the rest of Michaela's book now or waiting till it isn't free anymore. I wonder if she gets paid more if I spend the tokens. Yeah, I don't know the Vela system. I am a one and done kind of guy. I hit my book and you buy it. Let's see. I got 200 tokens for buying for having an Amazon account and buying stuff. Nothing else to use them for. Interesting. It's no longer free, but I did get 200 free tokens yesterday. Cool. I'll read more now. Not sure if this will work, but Amazon.com/Kindles-Vela and BOBHGSQVJF, which I assume is the link for her series. That's cool. Howdy, howdy, Carl, Joe, and Donna. Hey, Rich, I was lost in a sea of browser tabs. I understand that. Hey, Rich. Donna, our guest will be here soon. I'll keep her busy while you stay safe in the chat here. We will keep Donna safe. We will take care of her because we love her. And folks, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And ring that bell because you don't want to miss anything I do. I want to do some new programming and maybe do some pre-recorded stuff as I clear my projects. I've just been busy as a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. Hopefully, there's nothing too dire. Hope everything's okay. Hi, Richie. And yeah, hope so too. Thank you for throwing yourself on the grenade. Not sure I could take her this early. Donna, you're a tough lady. I'm pretty sure you could take anybody you need to. It's okay. Oh, everything is dire for her. She's in her early 30s, and even a bad haircut is an existential crisis. I see, said the blind man to the deaf dog in the dark. As it was for all of us at that age. We'll agree to disagree and move on. Be right back. Need to clean out the car. Have it. Need to clean. Richie will be right back. Need to clean out the car to have it to get the brakes done. Apparently, the shop where has taking it to has a no clutter rule after one of the techs almost got struck by a needle in the car. First off, Richie, you live roughly in LaPorte County. Go to Apex Muffler and Brake in Michigan City. Used to be John Swetnikowski, who was the best mechanic in the world, but still, they're a great shop. That I have to bounce about 10 to take the car to that. I understand. So accountability. Since Wednesday, I looked at both. I looked at both the anthology and werewolf book files on my desktop. Some days that happens, and wow, I got an Amazon order receipt for my Vela tokens, even though they were free. Okie dokie. From a desk of small press publisher. Just doing quick accountability. I got a few more sketches done in the new sketchbook. I still got to do graphics for tomorrow's show. Seems like there's not enough time or money to get everything done. I forget art counts as accountability. So you get a quick glimmer at what will be scanned later. Ion from Hybrids accidentally did Ion fan art, and I finished that picture I was working on. Both these need to be scanned and thrown up onto DA. I was going to do some more artwork, but we had medical interference while we were at the doctor's, so other things happened. Everything's fine. That's fine. And since Joe's here, let's run his commercial real quick. Actually, hold on. Let's hide that current ad. I'll find it later. I'll regret doing that. But let's run Joe's commercial because Joe's a good guy.
Hi, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the host of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and I want to cordially invite you to watch our show Saturdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. On our show, we will have different guests as well as talk about the comic book industry and pop culture. And every so often, I might actually do a drawing session or a 3D rendering session every here and there. So once again, I want to invite you to watch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher right here on the broadcast channel that you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Hope to see you there, and make certain that you catch From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks.
Yeah, please hit his stuff up. He's a neat guy. Let's see. Wow, that's still glitching. The net is being a little dodgy, so I'll find where I was real quick. Okay. And morning all, morning Nick, morning Joe. 95 work beckons. You get there and do it, bud. I'm back. Made it before the show started. That's right, Joe. Our own Joe Bachman came in. Yay. Hey, Joe D. Bye, Joe D. Welcome back. Joe B. Yeah, we're swapping Joes. G.I. Joe, real American hero. Anyway, I just saw Carl's guest pulling. Shh, be very, very quiet, and maybe she'll think I'm still abed. Oh, Donna, the things you hand me that I could get in trouble with. Anyway, good morning. Good morning, Grant Lankert. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hey, Grant. Hey, Donna. Everybody's glad to see Grant. Everybody's glad to see Joe. Happy Friday. Lurker mode engaged. Not many people know it, but our own Cindy Koepp actually pilots a Romulan Duradex class cruiser into the show every day and just cloaks it. It's great seeing her. I just ran Joe's, but I'm going to run your ad too because I've got a little behind on my ads. And while I'm doing it as a free
author Cindy Koepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
All right. So, yeah, folks, support Cindy Koepp. She's an author, an artist. She does game design, comics. Stellaria is a neat game I saw go by. I love people who do independent things, and Cindy Koepp is really out there branching out and an inspiration for us all. Let's see this. Grant Lankert, I feel mostly better, but I'm still testing positive. Well, Grant, I'm sorry that you're still positive for the unspeakable ailment. But you do seem to be taking it well, and just keep getting better. Stay hydrated. Let's see. Don't let the testing positive part get you down. There are people out there who have been tested positive for a while after being completely symptom-free. My last bout with it, I tested positive for a week, but I didn't have the symptoms after the first day. So, I think it's mutated into something relatively mellow. I'm just glad to hear it. It's not the end of the world. I just want to get back to my life. I understand. And last night, Mooney was acting sick. I was freaking out because I'm still too sick to drive him to the vet, and Angie doesn't drive. That's a hard place to be in, Grant. Angie turned the heat up, and he seems fine now. She thinks he's just cold. That happens. The first cold snap always, for me, certainly messes with me. And shivering and neurological issues isn't fun because shivering is a type of spasm. So, yeah, no. You may not have to lose the goatee altogether. You may get away with trimming it down. That's how I got to the goatee, and I've done. At this point, if I have to, I will. I'll just do it, and I'll look like a baby-faced little chubby boy again. Anyway, I need to get more storage space for my brain. I was just thinking how much I'd like to be able to pull photos out of my brain. Because there are so many, we are of the age where cameras weren't as accessible, and they're treated as images as a commodity. And I really was missing some of my misadventures just because people don't believe I did it. If I let handlebar get too much more full, I'll lose vacuum and therefore pressure. Yes, I understand entirely. Being alone with you is never problematic. Why, Donna? She does get better cut of money if you buy the tokens, but she does get some of the money for free tokens also. Okay. Afternoon Discord account got hacked today. Oh no. Hey Rick. Radio Retro Future, there's been a lot of that going around. Were you able to access your account again? Yeah, let's find out, Bonsert. And good morning, Bonsert. Taking it to the shop. Oh, there we go. My niece and grandniece work out. Well, that's a different situation. I understand that. No. Hacker changed the email, contacted Discord about it. It's wreaking havoc on my server right now. Yeah, I'm on Discord. There are a couple people who have set up servers and stuff to try to force me to be on Discord more often. But it's a little, there's a learning curve. And it's just, I'm on so many platforms right now. I don't know. I hope things go better for you, Bonser. We'll run an ad for you in a little bit. Let's see. Actually, Grant Lankard, you'll be testing positive for a month, even after you recover. Wow. Hopefully they did get it back to you. Hopefully they are able to get it back to you. Now, somebody claiming Lovecraft is diesel punk. How did they get Lovecraft? That's probably somebody who hasn't read the books. They're making... Oh, okay. But also working on some cyberpunky art for Association of Ishtar, which is a wonderful thing to be working on. And since you're having a rough day, let's run one of your ads. Let's see now. Let's run this one.
Greetings, fellow traveler, and welcome to the Association of Ishtar, a multiverse of cosmic mystery and steampunk adventure. The Association of Ishtar is a clandestine organization of volunteers investigating anomalies called rifts, portals to other worlds where anything is possible. Most of these planes are but savage variations of Earth, but some are home to advanced civilizations or the occasional alien beings beyond human comprehension. Every day, these brave men and women are risking their lives by crossing the fringes of reality. Should they succumb, they will die in obscurity. But it's not the Associate's vocation to perish but to seek out and gather information on the copious threats lurking beyond the rifts to ensure humanity can overcome. After all, those who pry prevail.
God, I love that ad. Bonzer, you do such fun creative stuff, and I absolutely love what's going on there. Since we're at the half-hour mark, I want to take a second, or we're almost the half-hour mark. I want to thank you guys for the tolerance last night. Yesterday's video was difficult with the interruptions from the technical difficulties of the Windstorm. Not yesterday, Wednesday. Yesterday's video was on Luke Stone's channel, and that was challenging for a whole different set of things. Very fun, but if you like seeing me be put in situations that are very often opposite my normal, you should go check that video. Plus, our guest is a very accomplished comic book writer, so check that out on Luke Stone's channel. But yeah, not sure if it's a user trying to push my buttons because I get so frustrated about that. Can send you an audio recording of Prologue. Certainly, I'd love to. I love when people send me stuff. Sponsored. It may take me a while to get to it sometimes, but I do love when I'm receiving stuff. And for folks who don't know, Leafy Moss is still going on. So if you want to donate to the folder of assorted digital files, and I know you well enough to trust you, hit me up and I will send you the secret link to that, and you can download all sorts of silliness. But getting back to our interrupted conversation from yesterday, we were talking about horror, and I mentioned Lovecraft, and Lovecraft brings back up there are so many different types of horror, and the line between horror and suspense, because there are suspense films that don't, and I do think in film it's funny, even though I write books, I'm very cinematic in my mentality, and I don't know if this is anyone else. It plays like a movie in my head. Suspense being a key element of horror and comedy. You can have suspense without horror. A lot of, again, one of my favorite genres, classic noir. Give me a gritty detective story, with inappropriate 30s era things and lots of concussions. I live for those tropes. I think it's delightful. Now I want to watch Casablanca, which is in my top 5 movies of all time. Man, I really do want to watch Casablanca now. Anyhow, these tropes, this mechanic of suspense, while separate from horror, I do not believe horror works well without suspense. Horror without suspense might be jump scares, maybe, because you don't see it coming, and gore, but even then it's better with the beats of that the character smells something or sees a little pool coming up to the door. What's behind the door? What's behind the door? Ah! That is the core of the best part for me. That slow build. Lurker mode disengaged. Welcome back, Syndicate. I really need to get a little animated GIF of and yes, I say GIF. If that bothers anyone, that's fine. You are welcome to your displeasure at that statement. Of like a little ship decloaking whenever she does that. I'm going to be experimenting to make this channel a little more fun. And Cindy will be plugging assorted things, including Big Stumpy Robots Have Small Arms on Amazon.com. And yes, commercials and discussions on that is coming too. Because I want to talk about the kinds of horror. When we mentioned Lovecraft, oh yes, without suspense, jump scares just don't work. You just have that. You have to have the tension for it to break. I agree, but I've seen some people who will literally drop a jump scare out of nowhere. And is that horror? No, that's just spooking me. Ooh, and I'm skipping an ad for a moment. Radio Retrofuture just watched a free seminar about microplotting. I could send it to you, I think. Please do, if that's at all possible. Again, I love education. And the Historical Fencing Guild tonight. I'm not real sure what we're going to talk about. I've got to do my daily research, my weekly research into that. It may be time to start discussing the bane that is our existence, the threat to all humanity that rises unholy every October. I'm talking, of course, of the pumpkin invasion. Anyhow, and Amy Hale has neurosis for you. And Frankenstein at Christmas Smash Words. We're talking about Santastein, the post-holiday Prometheus. Brian K. Morris's bang out. Just amazing parody of giving life to the spirit of giving. That man. I love you, Brian. You got some places, my friend. Johnny K says, ooh, I've got something for you to see tonight. Man, I just watched my fight, flight, or freeze responses all doing Rochambeau. I can't wait to see what you're up to, Johnny. If it's something you want on the show, send it to me in Messenger or something in a format I can pop around. Yep, and then go find Liquid Roman Armor. Brian K. Morris, I bet that's Volcana on Amazon. Thank you, Cindy. She leaves these clues and we love it. But while she's doing that, I really want to know, guys, what is your favorite horror film? What? Because as writers, many times, like I said, we see the movie. So sometimes we see a movie, we can reverse engineer it to something like a script, whether it be a book for a script or a story. What ones really hit you? Like for me, you have the classics, the Universal monster movies, the classic Dracula. Yes, I like both, Dracula and Transylvania 65000, but that's a whole different ballpark. But for me, the one I have to see every year is Halloween, the original Halloween, because it was so slow burn. I mean, you get Spike to understand what Michael can do at the beginning, which is terrifying. It's still classic heartbeat, low things. But then it just switches over to that. The first movie was about the hunt for what? The second act is just the hunt. It's just this little intro of a brief hunt and what made him, and then it's just you establish Michael Myers, he escapes, and then it's just Laurie Strode and fate. Fate is like an element. That whole a lot of people ask about that only class scene in the whole movie where Laura's like, yeah, it's like wind and water. It's something that's real and tangible, can't be escaped. And you look at the pacing from that moment on. The entire movie is about the pacing. They're there just in time for Michael Myers to see them. They're there just in time for, Loomis turns just in time to miss the station wagon driving by at the scene of the robbery at the beginning. Everything is so the attention is just built up, and then a little bit of comedy. There is some genuinely funny moments that instantly turn horrific, or are horrific that you can't help but kind of laugh at almost in their absurdity. It's such pacing. And my favorite parts of the movie are not the parts people think of. Once the chase gets going and Laurie's trying to defend herself from the shape and all this stuff, that's jump scare. She's in the version of the haunted house where everything's been laid out and it's horrifying. But what gets me is that the very end, after because it ends on a cliffhanger, and I know about the rest of the movies, and I don't care that much. I enjoyed H2O, but I really don't care about the rest. And I will be seeing the new Halloween soon. Halloween Ends. That's going to be a very important movie to me. But what is going to be a thing is it's the end of Halloween, because what they do, they run it and they're running the credits and they start the music back up. And it's just cutting places where he was or he could be in a frighteningly generic looking home. Because that whole wind down at the end is to make you wonder, is he out there? Is Michael Myers in your house? That hits me. And that logic of leaving the groundwork to go, oh my God, what's going on? That's the epitome of this. It's a kind of suspense that's left with you. So I want to, that's what hits me. Which ones hit you? I kind of wish our boy Skunk Rocker was here, because he would talk about the more active, gory slasher flicks like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Which aren't my fans. And like I said, most of them I don't like. I like the suspense, the build-up. A neat one, actually, is The Bat with, the main actress was the mom on, the mother-in-law from Heck, on Bewitched when she was much younger. Agnes Moorehead. Hey, I pulled it out. I remember. I had Vincent Price, and it was just an amazing little mystery film. And I really enjoyed that. I like when horror is bound with something, mystery or adventure. Look at the Van Helsing movies. Or Young Van Helsing, if anyone knows it. That's a great cheesy flick. But I lost track. I want to hit the comments real quick. Bear Publications has sci-fi, www.bearpublications.com. Yes. I want to forget. Before I forget, apologies for ranting on CBS, Comic Book Spectrum, but poor editing and layout hurts any story. I will be honest, Thursdays I shop, so I miss huge chunks of CBS. But if somebody was offended, I think in this group, everyone would know real fast. And you're entitled to have your opinions. You're entitled to be passionate about them. And frankly, in some cases, and I'm not sure what story you're referring to, so I don't know if I agree with you, but the concept of poor editing and layout does bother me. Just for the people who didn't get to see it, and myself, what title are you referring to? And let's come back here. And we've got, and it's not that I'm ignoring Sidney Koepp. It's just I'm trying to keep on beat because I want to know what horror moves you, what works and doesn't for both my audience, my literal audience, and my literary audience, because I find horror is insidious and it creeps into many of my writings. Let's see. For people looking for Animal Eye 2, the printer is being twerpy. You have my condolences. That happens to a lot of people. And to answer that question, we have to define the difference between horror and suspense. For me, Saw would be number 1 or 2 on my list. Some see it as suspense, others see it as horror. I see the Saw movies as torture porn. I am too empathic to like the Saw movies, the Hostels. There's a whole genre. And self-mutilation is one of those I'm really not comfortable with. But I would, it's not horror. It's almost more gore to me. Because the suspense is, are they willing to endure the suffering that this idiot has set up for them? And I would love to, guys, I would love to watch a Saw movie where the victim turns out to be Richard Dean Anderson, and it's MacGyver, and he just goes, well, I have chewing gum, so no. And like completely through the entire 2-hour shtick of this movie messes up Jigsaw's plans. That I would watch and eat with popcorn. But that being said, I may not agree with your take. I do see the horror in it. But like I said, it's one thing I like about horror movies, and this is a neat thing. The best horror movies to me have an implied justice. It's terrible, but it's funny that you know, these psycho killers have a very specific moral stat. It's like they're really against teen sex, you know, and they're really, you know, if you get drunk or high, you're more likely to die. These things, the just horror is a genre. It's a concept that I don't hear talked about, but I really do like it. Because I'm a sucker for the good guys win and the bad guys lose, and occasionally really bad things happen to the bad guys. Look at the end of Frighteners. Great film, by the way. And like, there's the spooky genre, which isn't quite full horror, but I love it. And intended horrors have long since fallen into the spooky genre. This is things like your Vincent Price movies, House on Haunted Hill, the older black and white kind of campy movies, but can still be spooky without being like a classic, like the Mummy, the original Mummy with Boris Karloff is an entirely different kind of movie than my favorite Mummy, the 1999 Brendan Fraser powerhouse. And if that, that movie just brilliant. But that's a different kind of horror movie. So I like horror as an element, perhaps, but not a genre. I don't know if that makes sense. But you are entitled to like what you like, even if I don't. And I'm glad you enjoy it because somebody's creating that. And if that's what you like, maybe make something like that. You have certainly, with both 3D rendering and hand-drawn comics, you have the opportunity, since the Comics Code is no longer with us, to do some pretty interesting things if you're comfortable with that rating. Animal Eye for your coffee cup, bearpub.pub, bit.ly/bearpub, and comic-related madness, that's Pop Van Zant's channel. And if all goes well, according to Hoyle, I'll be fulfilling Stellari this weekend. I finally got all the parts. Wonderful. Fulfillment is such a huge deal. People don't ever talk about it enough. That's why I harp on it. Can't wait to see how that goes. Animal Eye artist does cool art too. That's Rollo Cruz. He's got an art station. He is a subscribe star where you can get his stuff. And her colorist, the Raider 05, has a deviant art. I follow it. You should too. Let's see. I'm not a horror fan. I'm more of a suspense fan. Okay, I think we hit that. Get his art customized. We talked about that. Victoria Adams has a wonderful book about the Book of Job and being a caregiver that is on my to acquire list. This is interesting. Kim is not a fan of horror movies. They stick around too long in the visual memory. That is a fascinating way to phrase that. Because no, I totally get that. Because a good horror / suspense movie can have you jumping at shadows for weeks or months afterwards. Yay, empathic problems. But that's a fascinating point. Let's see. I have another comment dump. And SL Roland has trolls, amazon.com/SL Roland. Custom toys and websites, Studio Hubris, wixsite.studio/Studio Hubris 5. Okay, for me to understand how horror and suspense can interrupt, watch Vincent Price's The Tingler. Yes, that is a William Castle production. And he was the king of schlock in my mind. He until you hit the colorized 80s horror boom where you get Traumaville, Toxic Avenger, Sam Hill Goes to Frogtown, things like this, Sergeant Kabuki Man, LAPD. But The Tingler is legendary, and I think that's great. Oh, you're referring to Marvel Comics, The Variants #1. Okay, I mean, I might look at it, but I was concerned it was like an indie comic of somebody I knew. But yeah, I am seeing a just overall downward spiral in a lot of the art and just writing and layout quality of mainstream comics. Just as a rule, they look worse. Excuse me. Stuff slide. These things happen. I will be revisiting it later. The Shining is my favorite horror movie. Now that's a great slow burn. The original Exorcist is terrifying. Amityville Horror classics, I can see that. But see, QuadCon Comic and Toy Show. Cool stuff. There will be events going on the rest of October weekends. Wonderful. I see Sayas, I don't see it. Gotcha. New Frankenstein trilogy. YeOldDragonBooks.com/Meet the Dragons. There's always good stuff there. And we mentioned Denver Martinez. I already mentioned them. And Skunk Rocker on Facebook. Skunk Rocker Live does some impressive voiceovers. Tales from the Decoverse and Magic. That's John B. Pica's outfit. Torture porn. Interesting. It's more about serial killer who makes their victims face their inner demons to escape. And see, I think that is just that's an interesting way to see it. I think that's better handled by something a little more supernatural if you're going to have somebody face their inner demons, something more along the lines of what Silent Hill can be. And games as a horror genre need to be talked about at some point because they allow immersion, a total immersion in that you are doing stuff. Cosmic horror and gothic horror have always been my fave. Slasher used to be included when I was younger, but I'm not as into it now. Yeah, yeah. I feel very much the same. I like cosmic horror. You the Color Out of Space. Uh, some of Lovecraft's more distant works. We've managed to make Cthulhu a mascot. I have the word for it, but we've just despookified Cthulhu. We through cultural immersion and osmosis, and I find that interesting because the weirdness of of Lovecraft's more eclectic works get me. The Haunter in the Dark, was it The Cave, the ones where it's a very primal thing against something you can't fully understand. God, I can't remember. Pinkerman's pet. Pinkerman's model. It's not Pinkerman. Oh god. But because I'm horrible with names, I mechanically don't remember names well of characters, of writers. It's part of my nyxlexia, if you will. But yeah, I like the horrors that make you think. Uh, Also, Lovecraft made a wonderful one about a sorcerer who cursed a family to die at 33. And the spoiler is there's no curse. He just would sneak out and kill them in obscure ways to make people believe it was a curse. Really neat little book. Oh, God, I wish I could remember the name. But let's see. Psychological ones that get in your head are awesome. I don't do gore porn. Exactly. Give me Alfred Hitchcock. Give me the classic Twilight Zones. Those that they tell a story. The Outer Limits was really good for that too. I like the ones that make you stop and you're thinking about it afterwards. Not necessarily just scared, but where you're just, huh. And you find yourself sipping your drink going, that happened. Okay. I believe horror is best manifested when you use suspense to fuel it and you tap into the core universal fears. So, the fear of becoming something else, of the forced conversion, that's how zombies work real well. It's actually how vampires can work. Just the fear of the dark, the fear of being alone, the fear of predation, and where it's not the monster that's scary. Let's talk about Jaws. One of the scariest films because they didn't show the monster, because it's always just off camera. The monster you barely see is the scariest monster. I have very mixed feelings about M. Night Shyamalan, but I enjoyed The Village extensively. I thought that was a great film because that tapped into the fear of it tapped into fear and folklore as social control. For generations, parents would tell their children about the local monster that they may or may not have believed in, or more often, grow up and try to pretend they don't. That will get them if they misbehave or go out after dark or go to a dangerous place. And it's always interesting how the belief in something, whether it's real or not, this is crossing into cryptozoology, it's things like that, but will change a culture. Because if you really believe that the Mamalombos in the river and they'll eat you. You don't go to the river alone. You don't mess around. You treat it like it's a real threat. Think about the kids who believe the house is haunted and won't go down the street, so they go down another street. That literally changes the flow of traffic because people are avoiding the supposedly haunted house, and it happens. Likewise, there's a house in South Haven, Indiana. Wonderful little community I used to be a part of, and I don't know what it's like now, but there's Wolf Mansion. And to the best of my research, there is no real viable finding reason why Wolf Mansion should be haunted, other than people want to believe it is because it's old and spooky looking. But every year people break into Wolf Mansion trying to see a ghost, but never not realizing that a few houses down, there was a house with satanic murders that happened. And they literally had bleeding pentagrams on the walls. Pentacles, not pentagrams. But it's fascinating to me. And that's where how horror impacts us outside of the genre is fascinating because it's vitally important. We need, especially as children, to practice being scared so that when we are scared by a real threat, we know, okay, this is what it feels like to be scared. This is how to deal with it so I can deal with the real situation. So I think it's a vital societal need to both, as a way of showing, well, if you're stupid, you're going to die. And that sounds terrible, but I absolutely believe it. The price of stupidity can often be death. And horror teaches that and makes people more cautious, usually. So I find that fascinating. Let's see. I've got a big comment dump, it looks like, because I've been prattling. I see it more as suspense of trying to catch him and how the victims must come to grips with the issue they're attempting to make. It's not torture until the escape is attempted. I can see how you think that way. I really can. I just don't. I mean, I see what they're trying to do, but I simply cannot get past the literal horror of the self-inflicted injuries. And the other thing is, and this is a personal thing, I've been in a lot of what I call Waterloo situations where you cannot win. You have to just basically survive. They're very traumatic. They're very life-changing. They may even be necessary as part of development as a person. But I do not enjoy that aspect. And the Saw movies dwell upon that aspect and are known for that aspect. It's part of why I enjoy the beginning of Halloween far more than the end. Because once the actual killing starts, it becomes less scary to me. It becomes more repulsive. And while that's a valid part of horror, and it needs to be, you need to be, oh my God. Oh. And some people double down on that and triple down and they just go deep into that. Well, but for me, the balance that stays with me is the suspense. Because I just get repulsed. I'm like, oh, that's gross. No. It doesn't even scare me. It's like, no. I love NCIS. I especially love NCIS Lost. How do I say Lost? NCIS New Orleans. However, every third or fourth episode, they have a really gory body. And it's part of the theme. It's kind of in tradition with NCIS. But I find that immersion breaking because I'm like, oh, well, that's gross. And that breaks me out of the story. But again, that's me, not you. And you seem to like the parts that I would comment on more, but it's just not my jam. Let's see. Going back up. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Blue Teddy Narrations. We are talking about horror and trying to finish up some of the conversation we had earlier. Hard to do horror flicks that do with child possession or child mutilation. I can't do it. And if you enjoy it, enjoy it. Rock on. Oh, I had the term from it. I have a nerve thing where the thumb nerves sometimes fire out my pinkies. So I go thumbs up and my pinkies pop out. I'm not trying to gesture anything. Some people are trying to say thumbs up means something else now. I'm being positive. Please stop letting mean people steal my gestures of positivity. I'm really getting tired of it. I don't like that white supremacist dickweeds have co-opted the okay sign. Okay? They don't deserve to get to do that. They don't get to deserve to co-opt the Norse runes. They don't get that. Don't give that to them. Totally off topic, but yeah. Hey, BTN, we're getting greetings. Boo, hiss, I've run out of break. Start art for vintage cartooniness. Don't forget to tip your host. Sign up for Rising Tide newsletter. Then go patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild. I could use more support doing what I'm doing, but I appreciate it. Excuse me. The first 3 saws was exactly that. After that, it's more like what you stated. What torture do the creators come with? And I think that's very telling in a horror series. When it stops being about the story and starts being what's the new shock that they can do, it really does. And I agree. I agree with that point. I just, like I said, I don't stomach it well. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, lurker mode engaged. I wish I could. Richie Aspel says, I wish I could experience the tingle like they did in the theater that had the seats rigged for mild. That must have been horrifying. I guess for House on Haunted Hill, they brought out a skeleton puppet that came down from the ceiling and scared. I miss that interactive movie theater setting. The Curse with Will Wheaton, which is an adaptation of Lovecraft's The Color from Space. I didn't even know that movie existed. I will be looking it up now. Thank you. Because I like Will Wheaton. Alrighty. Let's keep going. I've got a good audience today. Johnny Cage I would say it's torture porn. Hate it. I understand. But then again, you know where my horror leanings lay from the Leafy Mouse folder. Exactly. That's why I was so happy, because we both wrote very parallel stories. I have one story that is very parallel to it, and I have some. Once I get that stuff up, it may hit Leafy Mouse before it's published. I'm not sure. I hate gore. Gore is not scary. How you get to the gore is more scary than the gore itself. Absolutely. Yep. Vampires and zombies are also a variant of infection and plague. And zombies always seem to represent the fear that the group has of forced conversion. In that, I heard this somewhere. It was really interesting that Democrats tend to be more scared of zombies. Now, this is not me being political. This is from a psychological/sociological perspective. So just bear with me. Because zombies are being forced to conform with the masses. This is why the old zombies were the slow, lumbering, brain-eating, very the horror of the communist threat as it was perceived, of being forced to everybody get rid of your brain and think alike, and forced homogeny. Interesting. Whereas later zombies are closer to the fear of the conversion to the forced commercialism, where that's why they're faster, and they all come, and many of them were set in malls. It's that the crowd is coming for you, and they're going to take and take and take and take, and as a commentary on that. Whereas very often vampires are depicted incredibly sexually, so they are representative of the fear of sexual promiscuity, conversion, in some cases, alternate, what they used to call alternate lifestyles, LGBTQ, etc. And it being forced evil with the beautiful undernote of the demonic possession angle that you kind of find in some, where you aren't you, something else lives there, and you get into that with demonic stories as well, which are horrific on multiple levels. But that as an STD genre, that's why the sexuality of vampires, they were always very sensual, but the raw sexuality and the bisexuality of vampires was very much brought to the surface. And you think of the brides of Dracula, and then you think of Interview with the Vampire. What you look for are hinge pin stories that others have borrowed heavily from, because they're the ones that influence it. Yes. Raider Retrofuture says, I think that Cthulhu has been humanized too much, making him just another D&D monster that lives in your head. Yeah, we don't have. Let me back step from this for just a second, because I think it's a subject of, it's a symptom of something bigger. We, as at least Western society, have lost both our sense of awe, as in this is awe-inspiring, this is awe, the true meaning of awesome, something that's staggering. We are so cynical and jaded, and we have lost senses of scaling because of, I believe, because of movies being able to depict things of size. Remember, parts of our brain are not really good at telling what we see if it's fiction or fact. There are parts of our brain that really don't process that well. So, to the point where people will see a tiger, or they'll go to the zoo. And I used to work at a zoo. I used to do snack shop things, kind of stationed at the zoo, to put it that way. And people, I thought they were bigger. Or you see a mountain lion, I thought they were bigger. How are they killing people? Because your sense of scale as to what a threat to you is off. And Cthulhu represented both a near unthinkable physical scale and a mental metacognition threat. I mean, the mental equivalent of a hurricane coming for you, and there's nothing you can do about it in your head. Devastating. And it doesn't work anymore, ironically, because so much of our society is built on giving you time, making sure you don't think, because it is very profitable for the vast majority of businesses to have people engaged in impulse purchases. So huge amounts of, especially American entertainment, are geared to get you not to think. And worse, not to think critically. Because turning that off makes you more susceptible. Whereas Lovecraft and some great authors dial it up to the mental lift limit, the point of failure, where you think about something and you try to understand it, and you encounter things that are just so big, you can't comprehend the numbers necessary to process the information, sometimes that you're seeing. This is why travel is so important. I have seen mountains. I have I've basically hung off the side of a cliff by a chain on this little narrow walkway, looking at cave paintings, not lithograms, but of Mishapeshu, the lake god perceived to cause the storms on Lake Superior that had been done hundreds of thousands of years ago. This is so dwarfing and so staggering when you are able to look at it from the perspective of our incredibly limited lifespan and intellect. That's what cosmic horror is to me. At that moment of where you start to realize that you are not a grain of sand in the universe. Your planet, this planet we're on, is not a grain of sand in the scale of the cosmos. The complete unimportance on a galactic scale or a universal scale of our lives should have impact and make people stop and think about it and process. And it's hard. You can't ever. So you have to hold on to it till you can't and let it go. And that to me is cosmic horror. It's a whole level. But that's never going to line up really with the mind that is trained not to self-examine, not to think, not to process. In a bizarre way, we have become immunized against it. And I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but one could wonder why there's so much effort to immunize us against a sense of wonder, a sense of looking at something like the mountains or the oceans, or heck, the size of Chicago, and just, something giant, something difficult to measure, to comprehend by the human mind, in part because it stretches the mind. It gives us room to go, even though we can't encapsulate it. Reaching pulls out the concepts. And I think the pain in that process is where cosmic horror is born. And that's fascinating. I Am Legend is one of the greatest horror novels of all time, and I will die on this hill and take folks with me. No, it's a great it's a great horror movie. It's especially the novels amazing. The Vincent Price film is very different than the Will Smith film, and I recommend people see the Vincent Price film. It's much more vampiric, but seeing somebody again play by the rules when they're the last one standing is fascinating. Will Smith's Vehicle, the same name, is a great flick, but not I Am Legend. I understand, and that's fine. Gotta bounce like a gummy bear on gummy bear juice and crack while on a trampoline. Understand. That makes me LMAO, that makes me think of the lore in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Diamond is Unbreakable. They have a street in town that is set in where people do not look backwards over their shoulder. Yes, I enjoy that. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does tap into some neat things that one would not expect. And anime is great for that. If you want a great classic horror series, the Vampire Hunter D novel series, and I always lose his name, but it's fundamentally brilliant. I hope that Bonsert has read them. They are phenomenal. And the two animated films made in that universe are also phenomenal carriers of the story. And my net is starting to act up again. Give me a second. Let me do something to see if I can't help my net, because unfortunately I have several new devices that affect the net, including my breathing machine, because yay. But There we are. We're back to 2 bars. I can work with 2 bars. Boom, 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 boom. Joe Bachman, time for me to disappear again, get more work done. Grabs portal gun, opens portal, walks through, forgets drink, comes back for drink, goes through portal. See you later today or Monday, of course. If they did, the spirits would come for you and take you to their world for unending torture. Possible. That about the okay was a 4chan joke popularized by media. It doesn't surprise me. The okay thing started as a meme to prove the point that you could scare people into believing any innocuous thing was a dog whistle by just saying so, and they're right. The problem is, you have that, but you also have people will actually take it as such. It's very strange. Kami Mark is hailing me on all frequencies. Hi, Kami. And the mods and spam. Awesome. Maybe that's why I've never been particularly affected by cosmic horror. I'm not bothered by it being an unimportant being in the cosmos. In fact, it's fine, kind of comforting. Absolutely. That is the other. Once you've processed it and you accept it, it's much less scary. And I feel very similar. Babylon 5 has a thing where I used to, Marcus the Ranger, I used to wish the universe was just, and then I realized then everything that happened would be I would have deserved. So instead, I'm much more comfortable with the overall general hostility of the universe. I have seen the anime adaptation of Vampire Hunter D. The first one is absolutely amazing. It's a tour de force of the period. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, the second one, and it's based off of like the 4th or 5th or 6th novel, is not as well written. Like it's not the right way to put it. The story is presented differently, but the art is so exquisite, and the imagery is so incredible. Now, having said that, please, sponsor, as a literary individual, get a hold of the novels. There are graphic novels out too, but get the novels and read it. As you love steampunk, and Association of Ishtar, and has given me the feel that you will truly love the alternate Earth of Vampire Hunter D. In a post-vampire dominated society, where technology and the supernatural have overlapped and twisted, and technology has been used to manufacture the supernatural alongside the real thing. It's fascinating. So if I had to pick, that would be my second best. It's Halloween, you need to read something book. My first, of course, being A Night in the Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny. I plug that shamelessly this time of year because it is one of my all-time favorite books, basically ever, and I read it every year. But we are at, we've got an hour 20. The comments have trickled down. So and it must mean you're listening to me, which is good. Let's adjourn for the day, folks. I'd like you to all think about what you've got done. Write horror, because it's the season to do it if you can. Enjoy it if you can't, and if it's not your jam, that's okay too. But write something, create something, because if you create something, even if it's not what you want, you can edit it, you can fix it, you can make it better, but you can't edit a blank page. Oh, it's definitely retrofuturistic. I kind of also kind of reminiscent of Hunt Showdown. Now I think about it. Yes, go enjoy it. Oh wait, we've got some. Have a nice weekend, folks. See some of you tonight. See the rest of you Monday. Yes, I will be at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I think it's Eastern Daylight Time. But my time, because it's 11:20 now, I will be hosting the Historical Fencing Guild. Yeah, my voice is starting to cut out. So meet me there. We'll talk swords. We'll talk shenanigans, some training stuff. I'll try to motivate you guys to get in shape and answer sword fight related questions. I got to check what gear's on the market. It's my weekly to do. So I will see you there, and I will see you back here on Monday at 10 a.m. for another delightful episode of Nevermind the Furthermore. Stay safe, folks.